All right, in this lesson, I'm going to be sharing with you, well, if you're not using the harmonic minor scale, you're probably missing out on some really cool sounds. I'm also going to be sharing with you one of my favorite records made by the great Cuban guitarist Manuel Galban and Cooder. Stick around. All right, before we get into it, you're going to want to grab the free notation tab and backing track for this lesson. It's going to make it more fun when you can follow along. Also, that backing track is pretty fun to play over. That link is down below. So this performance that I'm doing here at the top of the video, this is from an upcoming masterclass I'm teaching on Cuban Surf Guitar. And I got into this because in the late 90s, somebody hit me to this record called Mambo Sinuendo. And it was made by a legendary Cuban guitarist named Manuel Galban and another legendary guitarist named Cooder. Manuel Galban was a big star of Cuban music in the 1960s, and his sound is incredible. It combines surfy, reverb-drenched guitar with Cuban Son music. The two of them teamed up to make this record in the late 90s, and it was a huge impact on me and a huge impact on a lot of other guitarists. The tunes are great, the arrangements are great, the engineering's great, the overall vibe is incredible. Definitely on my top 10 list. I urge you to go check it out. All right, so in that solo up top, I'm leaning pretty heavily on a harmonic minor scale. And I realize not everybody uses a scale all the time. Maybe it's not in your hands. Maybe you don't really understand where to use it or how it came about. But there are a lot of different minor scales, and this one came about because composers in minor keys we're missing the sound of the strong pull that happens when you have a dominant 5 chord leading back to a 1 chord. So in minor keys, you end up with a minor 5 chord leading back to a 1. It's a totally nice sound, but it's not nearly as strong of a pull as a dominant 5 chord going back to a 1. So let me show you how that sounds. Let's take a natural minor scale in the key of G minor. This will be your natural minor, also called your Aeolian mode, also called the relative minor of B flat major. 3 names for the same thing. So in G minor, you have root, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. That's going to be important here in a second, and a whole step to the root. So in that natural minor key, our 5 chord ends up being a D minor 7. There's that F there that makes it minor. That's your 5, leads back to 1. Totally sounds nice. 5, 1. Or I should say minor 5, minor 1. Composers are missing the strong pull that happens when you have a 7 leading back to a root. So we're going to take that F, and instead of playing an F natural, we're going to play that F sharp, so that will just be a half step away from the root. And what that's going to do is it's going to change the quality of this chord from minor to major. So we have a minor 7 going to a dominant 7, which is a type of major chord, right? So now we have a dominant 5 chord that pulls into a minor 1. Dominant 5, minor 1. You have that strong pull now from the 5 to the 1. That's a phenomenon that happens in music. That 7 always really wants to pull back to the 1. It always wants to go home. So if you put that in the scale, change all those F's to F sharp, you end up with this now. Root, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, root. So here's your natural minor, flat 7, so root, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, root, harmonic minor, 7. Way more of an exotic sound, but most importantly, gives us that dominant 5 to minor 1 relationship. That's why everyone started using it. It's a great color. It's really fun to play around with. And I want to show you some ways that you could work on this and also practice soloing and practice good phrasing. All right, I'm going to set you up to play over a minor 1 and a dominant 5 chord here in G minor. So let's start learning some scales and arpeggios that are going to help us. So let's learn a 2-octave version of the harmonic minor scale. We'll do this all in one position. Try to make it more of a winnable battle than learning it everywhere on the neck at first. So here we go. We have root, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, root, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, root. And then we could extend that a little bit to get 2 and 3. So there's our harmonic minor scale. No matter what chord we're playing over, that is how we're going to connect all of our chord tones and ideas using that scale. That's our universal scale for the G minor chord and for the D dominant 7. All right, so now let's learn some arpeggio notes so we know where to land of all of our ideas. We need a good point of resolve. So for the G minor, I have root, flat 3, 5, root, flat 3, 5, root, and I can even get another 3 up here. So check the tab and notation for that. Play that stuff up and down. Make sure you really have it in your hands. Let's check out that last one, the D7 here. So within this shape, I have root, flat 3, flat 7, root, but there's more available chord tones for this D dominant 7 than that in this position. So in this position, I really have available to me a 3, a 5, a flat 7, a root, 3, 5, flat 7, root, 3, 5. Play that scale, all those arpeggios up and down. There's no other way to kind of get it in your hands other than doing it slow and lots of repetition and taking your time. You know, spending a couple days doing that before you jump up and start improvising with it. All right, so now we have some scales, or a scale, we have a couple arpeggios. Let's come up with a plan of attack here. We're going to be playing over a backing track that's got a G minor, a long 5 chord, back to G minor. So G minor, D7, G minor. When I'm playing over the G minor, I'm going to use that G harmonic minor scale, but I want to resolve all of my ideas on a chord tone. There's the 5. There's a 3. There's a 5. There's a root. Okay, so I always want to make sure that all of my ideas are pointed at a chord tone, and then when I play that chord tone, I leave a little space, a little breath to make it clear to a listener that I've completed my statement. This is going to help you play with better phrasing. Okay, now when I'm playing over the D7, my scale is going to stay the same. That's my highway. That's how I'm getting around. I'm still going to be using the G harmonic minor scale. What changes is where I resolve my ideas. I have to resolve on chord tones that line up with that D dominant 7. So any of these notes, any of those arpeggio notes for D7 are going to sound good. So, and again, every time I land on one of those notes, I take a little breath before I start a new idea. So this is the idea. You have a scale. You want to make sure you're comfortable with that G minor or harmonic minor scale. You have two arpeggios, a G minor arpeggio and a D dominant 7 arpeggio. And you have a plane of attack with your phrasing. Start anywhere you want. Make sure you resolve to a chord tone. When you do, take a little breath, leave a little space before starting a new idea. All right, so let's bring up a track, and I'm going to do a little example for you. I'm just trying to play simple, pretty, and clear ideas. I'm not trying to do anything really fancy here. Again, this is the first time you're using it, first time you're trying to get this sound in your ear. Make it a winnable battle. All right, let's check it out. All right, I hope you're inspired to work a little bit more on that harmonic minor scale. Also, please go check out that record, Mambo Sinuendo. I don't think you're going to regret it. It's a beautiful record and really made a huge impact on me. Also, if you want to support the channel, best ways to do that are to hit that subscribe button, but also to go to my teaching website and check out any of the courses, master classes, and lessons I'm doing, including the masterclass that I'm doing coming up here on Cuban Surf Guitar. I'll put all those links down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another lesson.